Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDO44 coming at you with another video. So we got some Ben Simmons news, and on this channel I've been mentioning his name quite a bit. So we're gonna follow up and give you the latest. So I reported a few days ago that there was a rumor out there that I did not know if I trusted because it didn't come from the greatest source, but it was of Ben Simmons basically saying to the Philadelphia 76ers that he wants to be out of there. He wants to go to one of the California teams, and he didn't plan on reporting to training camp for the Philadelphia 76ers. I did not believe that rumor. Turns out, it's true. That's exactly what he did today. That was made official. He told the Philadelphia 76ers to some capacity, in some way, he communicated to them that he did not plan on coming to training camp with the Philadelphia 76ers at all, to trade him to a California team. And I don't know if that's negotiable or if it's possible that he may agree to go somewhere else, if there's any leverage on his end whatsoever in regards to whether or not he can be traded elsewhere. Maybe he can somehow leverage that with his representation. I believe he's part of Clutch, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but my tone is serious, but it's not something that's surprising to be to completely honest with you. I just am kind of wondering if this was the right decision. I think that when you understand the difficulty of trading his contract coupled with the reality of his market value at this time, it probably would have been best for him to not do this. It's obvious that the Philadelphia 76ers have been trying to move him. Maybe this puts pressure on them to pull the trigger on something that maybe they've been dragging their feet on and he got wind of it. I don't know. But other than knowing for a fact that you have a destination to go to and a team that's willing to, get you. In other words, if some tampering hasn't happened, this is a dangerous game he's playing. Dangerous in the sense that you're in year, 2 of a 4-year deal? It's one of those situations where it's not like you were a stellar version of yourself when we last saw you. Teams are not inclined to take your contract even if you were at your best self. That's not a contract teams just want to pick up because of your skill sets and the fact that you don't shoot the ball, all that stuff. So it's like when you come out and you say that you don't want to be with the Philadelphia 76ers, what you essentially are saying is, I am shrinking my value even further because now teams know what the Philadelphia 76ers need to do in order to have a cohesive locker room. And that's going to make it so that people are going to drop that price down. They're going to look at them and say, well, you have to get rid of this guy. He's going to ruin your locker room if you don't get rid of this guy. He's going to sit out all season long possibly if you don't get rid of this guy. Take my shoelaces and you can have yesterday's garbage, and I will take back Ben Simmons' contract off of your hands because I know how much of a burden it is for you, not only as it pertains to your cap, but also as it pertains to your chemistry. Yes. See, they were already getting lowballed for that deal, for Ben Simmons' contract. They were already. I don't need nobody to tell me officially via ESPN or whatever that the deals they were getting for Ben Simmons were ridiculously low. The why is because of his contract. It is because that contract is very, very huge. Nobody wants to bring that in. Nobody has a need for who he is at that price. So what essentially is the case is what you're going to be purchasing if you're another team is a glorified salary dump. That's the problem. That is the part that Ben Simmons needs to know and understand. This is what he probably should have been advised upon before this came out. Because now the price was already low. Now it's even lower. And it's tricky because to be honest with you, now if I'm, say, Portland, I'm not saying I'm willing to give you such and such player for Ben Simmons. I'm saying to you, you had better sweeten the pot enough for me to want to take on this contract. That's what the situation has now become. This could be far worse than Dennis Schroeder unless they find somebody who just wants to trade for Ben Simmons and, most importantly, doesn't understand what it is that I just said into this camera. When you have that type of leverage and you're talking about this type of player, it literally does not matter what you know he's going to be able to do. You're not buying his name, you're not even buying his production. You're buying the notion that he's not worth the contract. Very, very, very key words. The notion that he is not worth the contract he's attached to. Not that you understand it. In the game of leverage, in the game of negotiations, it's just about what it is that you can make it appear as if. That determines the price. Because nothing's certain. Guy can break his leg tomorrow and be out for the whole season. You're paying him $40 million. There's nothing certain. Guy can go out there, have the year of his career, and win the whole championship. Nothing certain. But what you are putting the price tag on is the various different nitpicking parts of the situation. How healthy is he? How much is the contract worth? What can he do for me? What did the last dude do that got paid as much as he did? All kinds of different stuff that ultimately makes it so that they can accumulate what it is you're worth versus somebody else. And in this case, in this particular case, he should have been telling people he wanted to come back to Philadelphia. He should have been telling people, hey, this is what we're doing. I'm working on my three-point shot, and I can't wait to get back on the floor to show you what I've been working on. That's all he needed to be saying. Why? Because it's obvious they're trying to trade you, buddy. They don't want you anymore. It's not that they don't want you anymore. It's just that the price, the tag that you're at, coupled with the weaknesses of your game, you're no longer worth that contract to them anyway. That's the elephant in the room for Ben Simmons, buddy. Nobody actually wants you at this price at this time, bro. Not us and not the rest of the league. That's the truth. Nobody's holding you hostage, man. They can't make a deal. And so what you would need to do in order to enable them to do so is to not work against them, damn it. You work with them. You say Philadelphia's been an excellent organization. I appreciate my time here in Philadelphia. I'm going to come back and be the best player I can. And then you go into the negotiating room and you say, you get me the hell out of here right now. I'm going to play ball with you guys. I'm going to say all the right things, but get me out of here. And I'm going to help you do that by keeping my value high. By doing all the things that keep a person's value high when they were playing trash last time you saw them. It instilling confidence in those who are paying attention. That you're doing the right stuff, that you're willing to play ball, that you're going to play basketball better than you did last time we saw you, and most importantly, that you're not going to create any problems if things don't go your way. You're doing all of the opposite right now. And see, you're going by the fact that you saw James Harden do it, that you saw Anthony Davis do it. See, this is where guys get in trouble. Because they start looking at their body of work. And Dennis Schroeder did the same shit. Excuse my language. But they start looking at their body of work. And they start thinking, I have leverage in this league. Because I'm not that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. All the guys underneath their tier. They look around and say, well, I got some power. You know what I mean? I may not be LeBron James, but I can get myself out of here. Because I saw Anthony Davis do it. I saw James Harden do it. LeBron's been moving himself around all the time. Hey, I done made a couple all-star teams. I got a $100 million contract. Let me show the world that I have leverage too. I'm attached to so-and-so group, whoever the management team is. I think it's Clutch. I'm not sure. But I'm attached to them. Let's see if we can get me out of here. But this is not how you do it. This is chess, not checkers. You don't just say, stomp your foot and say, nah, let me get out of here. No, you got a whole contract you're attached to. It's not how that works, bro. And the lane that you're in and the circumstances you're in, this is not how you go about getting what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You don't have that leverage. James Harden had that leverage. Why? Because he's James Harden. Because you know if you put him on any team, he's going to be able to do James Harden things. And what he's proven since is he can do things that are outside of James Harden things if necessary. He still has leverage. Right now, if he decides he doesn't want to be in Brooklyn, he can do exactly what Ben Simmons did, and he'll probably have a place to be very soon. Not to say he would ever do that. He's not. Nothing like that's happening. But I'm saying, by example, because of the attributes of the player, the value of the contract is not something that you're looking at and saying, oh, that's a terrible contract. I can't deal with it. Ben Simmons is. You see what I'm saying? That's a difference. Anthony Davis, yeah, everybody wanted Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis had to zero down the team he wanted to go to so that everybody wouldn't be outbidding the world. He'd probably end up in Sacramento just because they'd give the whole farm for him. He had to zero in on certain teams. You see what I'm saying? You can't apply your situation to somebody else's because you're not them and you're not in the lane they're in and you don't have the circumstances that enable you to move within the same way that they do. That's what Ben Simmons is doing. He's looking at other people and how they move and say, okay, this is how you do it. No, this is how they did it. Your situation's different. You can't do it that way. Your situation is literally, you have to do it the opposite way. You have to go about it and say, look, I'm working on my game. I know y'all didn't see the best out of me. Philly, I'm coming back to do the best I can. I can't wait to show you what I've had to do, what I've been working on, what I've had to accomplish in regards to being better going forward. You'll see the work I've put in. You know, and even if, like I said in a previous video, even if you don't want to lie to the city of Philadelphia, you could say to the fans, hey, Ben Simmons fans, check this out, man. I'm working on my game. This is what we're doing. Can't wait to get back out there to do what it is I love. Little statements like that literally are the difference between being in the situation he's in and being able to get moved versus being in the situation he's in and maybe not being able to be moved. Something so subtle and so simple. It's because of the image and the display that you put out in the presence of the circumstances you're in. His circumstances specifically, bad contract, just played poorly, wants to be out of the situation. The team also wants to move him. Because the team also wants to move you, which is also the most important part of this as well, a more important part of this as well. Because they do want to move you, you should not do this as well. If they're trying to keep you, like if they're saying, no, we're not going to trade you at all, we're not doing it, then it's like, all right, I understand it. But that's not what's happening there. That's literally not what's happening there. Have they turned down some deals? Yes, they've turned down some deals. But some of them deals they turned down, quite honestly, you know, to be honest with you, the Minnesota Timberwolves proposal was okay. You know what I mean? Bring back D'Angelo Russell, bring back Vanderbilt, bring back who was it? I think it was Beasley. I think they were bringing back Beasley. That's a good trade. And if they could get that on the table, I think they should take it. I don't know that Minnesota should keep that package on the table if it's, you know, anymore because of this move. You see what I'm saying? Now they can say, well, no, we're not giving you Beasley and we're not giving you Vanderbilt. But what we can do is give you D'Angelo Russell to make the numbers work, and you can throw in a second round pick. That's how this goes. See? Just little stuff can change the price. And so, Ben Simmons, yeah. Do I see if this is going on? If this is happening, if Daryl Morey is taking different packages that look as good as the Minnesota package and he's turning them down because he's looking for something great, you just got to be patient. Honestly, if you're Ben Simmons, you don't really have the leverage to try to force his hand. What you can do is make it more difficult for him to move you, though. But I don't know that benefits you at all, to say the least. Kind of just got to let a GM do his job. And another thing I would tell Ben Simmons, too, is let history be your guide in regards to the GM that you're dealing with. He likes making trades, fam. Like, you don't have to worry about telling Daryl Morey to trade you. He gonna definitely try to trade you. It's what he do. I could argue that he was brought there to facilitate trades that may need to be done. That might be his purpose, to get you out of there, low key. So, he's trying to do what it is that he does, which is make big splashes. It's his thing. So he ain't gonna go for anything less than what it is he knows he can get for you, because it's his reputation that he's focused on right now. This is how he plays ball. This is his time to shine. So it's like you getting in there murking it up shows a lack of understanding of what's actually happening. What's really happening is Daryl Morey is on the clock, and it's time for him to get back the best package he possibly can for a player whose value is dwindled to the ground. And if he could pull off a great deal, He looks as good as he's always looked when he's done stuff like this. So don't get impatient and say, okay, I want to go to the Lakers or I want to go to the Clippers. Those are not possible destinations, as I broke down in previous videos. So if you look at each and every one of those situations, they're all either not best for him or unlikely the team is going to want to make the move. And now he's made it even less likely one of those teams is going to make the move because of this demand. This demand. Now, one way of looking at it is, and I want to correct myself as I say that, one way of looking at it is he has a better opportunity of forcing his way to a specific destination by doing it this way. Because what he ends up doing is diminishing his values across the landscape for the rest of the teams so that only those 4 teams can bid. But the problem is those 4 teams will bid low. And in bidding low, it prolongs the process of possibly making the trade happen. And not only that, but the 4 teams that he wants to go to don't necessarily have a need for bringing back his contract. So he doesn't necessarily get what he wants out of the whole situation anyway. I'm going to end up in Sacramento. When you're pointing toward going to California, you need to understand that the only team that really is in a position to do it is Sac. And Golden State could offer some things, but they're not inclined to do that, and they have no reason to do that, really. I'm a broken record. I'm sorry. Houston, John Wall, that's the move. That's the only move I see outside of D'Angelo Russell. If I'm the Rockets, or rather if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, it would be a question of who would I rather have, what's a better package, Minnesota or Houston. Is Houston interested? I don't know. They should be. You feel me? They should be, but I don't know if they would want to do a deal with Daryl Morey like that. I don't know. But that seems like the best deal to me. John Wall is a player who can do a lot of things for you. I've already said all this. You can go back and watch some old videos. I don't really want to go back over that again. But at the same time, if you're looking for across the league for pieces that make sense for both sides, I think the closest thing I found that works for me is the Rockets and Wall. So I think he should kind of open his team list up a bit. And I think his representation will sit him down and explain to him pretty much exactly what I just said right now. California's out, but there's a nice little spot down there in Houston and maybe some other places I'm not thinking of right now who might be inclined to swap bad contracts with them. Washington, you know what I mean, with Bradley Beal, although that I don't see that being something he would be wanting to do. Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave there and go there, and so no, I don't see that being the case. But in theory, maybe Bradley Beal would want to go to Philly. Now I think about it, that's a pretty damn good spot for Bradley Beal. But Ben Simmons in Washington, is that how they want to build? I don't think so. I don't believe that they got rid of the Russell Westbrook contract so they could turn it into Ben Simmons. No, you don't do that. So that's all but out in my mind. That's out. So that's what I got. Now that you find a third team, maybe you can do some shit, some wheeling and dealing and shuffling. That's what the word I was trying to say, actually, shuffling. But at the same time, it's like I don't believe that you're gonna find a whole lot because he has such a very, very expensive contract. Nah, not at all. In some weird parallel universe, you convince Rob Pelinka to trade him for Russell Westbrook, but that's a weird parallel universe. It's not happening. Laker fans will go crazy, including myself. That's not what I want at all. I like Ben Simmons long term, but I don't like him with LeBron James. I think that's a redundancy of catastrophic proportions. And you thought our spacing could be questionable with Russell Westbrook. You bring in Ben Simmons, it's not questionable. It's bad. So no one in Laker Nation wants our spacing to be bad. Do we respect Ben Simmons and what he can bring to the table? I think a lot of people do. Basketball minds who know what they're talking about would be happy to buy low on Ben Simmons. But it's not buying low because you're bringing in the contract once again. That's the thing. The contract itself is a value piece. It's its own entire thing. Like, that's the thing you gotta understand, fans. It's its own entire thing. The player itself, separate. Just like draft picks, just like the value of draft picks before they're drafted versus after they're drafted. They're entirely different things. You're paying for the broad option of things when you're talking about draft picks. Like if I trade a draft pick before it's drafted, it's a bunch of guys. But after it's drafted, it's just one person. Like, for example, the Kuminga pick with the Warriors. If I make that trade before Kuminga's drafted, now I got the opportunity to pick all kinds of guys with that 7th pick. Those options are much more valuable than just zeroing in on that one guy. So that's the logic there. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's what we on, man. We're talking about it. At the end of the day, I'm super excited to see what happens with Ben Simmons, because this individual is a good player despite all of his deficiencies, and his value's low, but his production level is something that's going to be evident for any team that he goes to. He can't play everywhere, but he's an excellent playmaker. Other guys will be significantly better, in theory, for him being on the floor. But this is the problem that he runs into. When I try to convince myself that he's going to make other players better with his passing ability, what ends up negating that, honestly, is the spacing issues. It's hard to make people better when they are getting double team and triple team because my man doesn't have to guard me. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's hard to, like, you're going to get assists, but guys are going to get, there are a lot of things that happen because of your inability to space the floor, and it's more than what the eyes can see. It's like injury situations because guys have to be more packed in, more congestion on the court. You have less time for shooters to shoot shots. Your swing men who are in triple threat, they're getting double teamed. They're getting bumped every time they touch the ball. You know, it throws a lot of things off, foul issues and things of that nature. It's a lot of stuff that happens because a guy doesn't pose the threat of shooting the ball in 2021. Now, they didn't used to be that way. This wasn't how the game was played before the three-point arc became as serious as it is today. But now that it is this way, coupled with the rules and all that other stuff that they're trying to work on to make the game a little better, if you take all those things into account, there's no room for a guy like Ben Simmons who can't shoot the free throw and can't shoot the three, but looks to pass first. Because your passing first and all that stuff is negated by your presence of not being an offensive threat. So it's hard to sell it, you know, even though I know that's who he is. He's an orchestrator. He's a gifted, amazing visual floor general, you know, but he shrinks the floor for everyone else on his team. Everybody else gets more defense on him. Everybody else has less space to work with because there's more bodies in their way. Because people are playing off him. So that's how it goes for not only himself, but any person that doesn't pose a threat of shooting the ball in this era, unless they're like sitting in the paint like Rudy Gobert, as to which is cool. But everybody else, you got to at least be able to be competent. We can't just watch you from afar shoot a jump shot. You brick it, do it again, you brick it. That makes everything so much harder on the entire team. So that's what it is. That's why Ben Simmons is somebody that should be playing ball, you know, in terms of being nice and trying to not make static happen for Philly, because any GM that brings him in understands what I just explained to you, and they're not going to want to pay for that. They're not going to want to add $40 million a year to that, you know. If I'm going to trade for Ben Simmons, you do understand I got to give up his worth in trade. So that means I'm giving up a D'Angelo Russell to bring back Ben Simmons. I don't want to get rid of D'Angelo Russell to bring back Ben Simmons. I want to pair them together. Those pieces actually fit with one another. I want him passing to D'Angelo. So it's like, that's also another issue. What do I have to give up to get this guy? That's why I want, if I'm the GM on the other side, I want you to sweeten the pot. Don't be sitting up here telling me what you demand out of me. Hell no. That's a salary dump. You need to add picks to that player in order to get me to take him from you. And you need to take stuff that I actually don't want, not stuff that I do. I'm the other team in the catbird seat. You are the guy hoping that I gift you some value so that you don't look like an idiot over here. And that's Ben Simmons doing by making this statement public. That's his doing. So that's what I got to say, man. Making life hard on Morey, bro. Making life hard on Daryl Morey. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.